Hello Hotchill. So today is going to be the first lesson on solving equations using one step. So today's learning objective is to be able to solve equations using one inverse operation. Some of the keywords you may see are operation, solve and inverse. So there are four types of operations that we usually deal with. That is multiply, divide, add and subtract. And we're going to be using these to solve different various equations. Okay, on the first slide you've seen the word solve. So what does solve actually mean? So solve means we're trying to find a solution or an answer to something. For example, like you can see on the board, are inspectors or detectives that try to solve crimes. They're trying to find a solution or an answer to the crime. So in our situation, we're trying to solve equations. Okay, so we're going to go through a first example to solve and find the value of x for this equation. Just remember that this is an equation because we have this equal sign here, yeah? That's what makes it an equation. So we have x plus 9 equals 20. I think of a number x and I add 9 to it and it gives me 20. Upon inspection, a lot of you may see that the answer to that is actually x equals to 11. But I'm going to show you mathematically how we can use inverse operations to find an answer and solve this equation. So, inverse means opposite. So, inverse means opposite. So, we've taken the letter x, we've added 9 and it equals to 20. So, we need to do the inverse of 9, inverse of add 9. So, that's take away 9. But whatever we do to one side of an equation, we must do to the other because we have to balance this equation out. We have to balance it. So 9 positive 9 take away 9 gives me 0, so I'm just left with x. 20 take away 9 gives me 11. So our answer is x equals to 11. We have solved it and we've got a solution for this equation. X equals to 11. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is to pause the video and have a go at solving this equation. Find me a value for x. Once you're finished, resume and I'll go through it myself. Okay, welcome back. So, first things first, I need to identify what we need to do to this equation first. To get it looking like x equals to something, we need to get rid of this add 7. We need to do the inverse operation of add 7. Inverse of add is subtract. The opposite of add is subtract. So if you've added 7, we need to subtract 7 from both sides. So 7 subtract 7 gives me 0, so we are left with x. And then 14 over here, 14 subtract 7 is equals to 7. So our answer is 7. Okay, so now we have to solve and find a solution for this equation. Yeah. So we have the letter x. We have subtracted 13. We have subtracted 13 and it equals to 33. So we have subtracted 13. What is the inverse, the opposite of subtract 13? We are going to add 13. But we have to do it to both sides. We have to add 13 to both sides because we are going to balance the equation. Negative 13, add 13 will give us 0. If you'd like to use a number line, please have a look at a number line. So that leaves us with x. Now 33 add 13 will give us 46. So our solution to this is x equals to 46. We've now solved it. Okay, so now we have another whiteboard task. What I would like you to do is to pause the video and have a go at solving this equation and finding the value for x. Again, you have 3 options on the right hand side. Your answer will be one of these 3. Once you're finished, resume the video and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, welcome back. So, first things first is we want to get it looking like if you have a look at the top, x equals to something. So to get it looking like x equals to something, I need to get rid of this negative 6, subtract 6. So what's the inverse of subtract 6? So I'm just going to write on the side, inverse of subtract 6 is add 6. So I'm just going to add 6 to both sides. Negative 6 add 6 will give me 0, and that leaves me with x, and 10 add 6 will give me 16. So our final answer for our solution of this equation is x equals to 16. On the right hand side, 16. Okay, so find the value of x if 2x equals to 18. So first things first, we need to recap some algebra. What does 2x mean? 2x, what does it mean? 2x means we have two lots of x. So this is equivalent, so 2x means 2 times x. 2 times x. So let's recap on the left hand side. What is the inverse of times? The inverse, which means the opposite of multiplication, is division. So the inverse of multiplication is division. So 2 times x. So what's the inverse of times 2? Divided by 2. But again, we're balancing an equation, so we need to divide by 2 on both sides. So 2x divided by 2 will give me 1x. That'll leave me with 1x equals 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. So we have a solution, 1x equals to 9. However guys, mathematically we don't write it as 1x. We don't say we have one apple, we say we have an apple. So in this case, we don't say we have 1x, we have just x. So x equals to 9. That is our final answer. Okay, what I'd like you to do is to pause the video. Again, you have 3 solutions on the right hand side, and once you are finished, resume the video and I'll go through it myself. Okay, welcome back. So again, this over here says 5 times x. So what's the inverse of times 5? It's going to be divided by 5 both sides. Remember, we have to balance it, yeah? So 5 divided by 5 will give me 1x. But guys, remember, we don't write 1x, we just write x. And 20 divided by 5 will give me 4. So our answer to this is 4. X equals to 4. Okay, our final example. Let's try and translate what this equation says. I have x, I have divided it by 2, and it is equals to 3. So x divided by 2 is equals to 3. I'm just going to write a little note up here. X divided by 2 is the same as x divided by 2, yeah? Using the operation sign of divide, yeah? So x over 2 is the same thing as writing x divided by 2. So if we divide by 2, the inverse of divide is times. So I'm going to times it by 2 on both sides. So I'm just going to write that here. Times it by 2 on the left hand side, and we have to balance it and times by 2 on the right hand side. So half of x, or x divided by 2, when we times by 2, it just gives us x equals to 3 times 2, which is 6. So our answer is x equals to 6. Okay, what I'd like you to do is pause the video and have a go at answering this, and your answers should be your solution to this should be one of the answers on the right hand side. Guys, don't be put off by what is the value of c. Usually you see the letter X, but I would like to introduce using different letters. You may see letters such as A, B, C, maybe X, maybe Y, maybe Z. But in this case, find a solution for the value of C. Okay, welcome back. So we need to find a solution to this equation for the value of C. C divided by 5. So what's the inverse of divided by 5? It would be times it by 5. If C is divided by 5, so a fifth of C and then times by 5, it will just leave us with C. But don't forget, we have to balance the equation and do it to the right hand side as well. 10 times 5 gives us 50. So our solution to this equation is C equals to 50. C equals to 50. Okay guys, we'll now come on to the main activity. We have a red section, an amber section and a green section. So red section is this section here, the amber section is this section here, and the green section is the one at the bottom. So you'll be using different inverse operations for add, subtract, and then also for divide and multiply. I would like you to all start on the red section, move your way out to the amber section, and if you're not having any difficulty with that, please move on to the green section as a challenge for yourself. Once you have finished, please upload a picture of your solutions onto ClassCharts. And if you have any questions or queries, please message a member of staff on MathsWatch or ClassCharts. Good luck.